at the Latin School of Chicago. I started an international literary magazine for high school writers and editors called Polyphony HS. And just returned from sabbatical last year. I was off for 15 months, and it was so much fun, and it will never happen again. And I'm back to teaching now, and I wrote a novel on my sabbatical and revised another one. It's on a couple editors' desks now. And Tony Romano was in the first sort of writers group that I was ever in, and much came out of that. And Anna Calcani was my first official fiction teacher. And I met David Kaplan and Kevin Brockmeyer, whose stories we read in that, those two of Bamboo and Apples that were in the Tribune, the Nelson Algren Award winners, first and second place. So it's really nice to be on the panel with them both. A couple of things, speaking about formative experiences and occasions in my life. I'm from Bridgeport, which I always thought of as just a very Italian neighborhood, and as I've gotten older, I realized it was probably more Irish than Italian. But we had Italians on either side of us, and Italians upstairs, and my father spoke Italian, and that was the only time he spoke Italian, and I felt we were just, that's all you really need as a child, to think that you live in a very Italian neighborhood. It's just Italians on either side. You don't speak any English, and Italians upstairs who don't speak any English. And that's the only time my father ever spoke Italian, and that sort of, and we didn't speak Italian at all, and so that kind of mystery and the beauty of that language was pretty much like the mystery also of the church. I didn't understand a bit of either one of those things, and I thought they are braided together, those kinds of mysteries. Whenever we were we traveled for more than a half hour anywhere. We couldn't do anything in the car without praying the rosary, and which is not nearly as tormenting as when we had the Pilgrim Virgin. Some people call it the Traveling Madonna, and some people call it the Pilgrim Virgin. But we had a statue that came over and was said to travel all over Chicago and Europe. And my father and mother filled us with many lies over the years, and I don't know how to separate them from the truths, but they said there were only 7 of these statues or whatever, so we felt very special having the Pilgrim Virgin in our home for a week. And then these 3 little Sicilian guys brought it over, and they prayed the rosary with us. Then they picked it up a week later and prayed the rosary with us again, and took it to someone else's house and prayed the rosary with them, which to me was unfathomable as a child. They would do this twice in one day. And then we have people from the parish come over, and I associated all of this stuff with Italianness and with Catholicism, and I was an altar boy and all that stuff. Well, we couldn't do anything without praying the rosary in the car. And I went, my father's never been back to Sicily, and I went back there for a friend of mine. He met his wife, and they but decided to go back to Sicily. And we were from a little town called Santa Elisabetta in Agrigento. And Maddie's family, my buddy's family, was from a neighboring town, Sant'Angelo. And so I went out there and I stayed with my second cousin for a few days. They didn't speak a lick of English, and so everywhere I went, and I'm one of these annoying people who, if I go to another place and it's just Spanish-speaking people or Italian-speaking, I just do whatever I can to like speak a little bit of the language. So everywhere I went with my cousin, I'd be like, oh, come se dice mountain, come se dice street, come se dice store, come se dice. So I get in the car with him and I start this stuff. Come se dice grocery store. And he said, he put his finger up, he said, primo preghiamo. First we pray. That's where my father got it from. I'd never been there. And so this is the kind of, I assumed that everybody was, if they weren't Italian, that they wanted to be Italian. And I still sort of live that is, I mean, I found myself not really understanding anything that was going on, but always in this sort of silence in church at all times. And I developed my own sort of kind of branch of Catholicism. I knew some things that I'd heard in church and in the Bible and in class were just, I knew that they were ridiculous just the first time I heard them. I couldn't understand how God would ask anyone to sacrifice his son. As soon as I heard that story, I just thought, that's ridiculous. There's no way that would happen. And I developed my own sort of understanding of all this, of so many of the Bible stories, and I felt like I also felt that there was something really special about me as a child. And I suppose, I mean, I hope that all people sort of feel that way, and I don't think that's quite the case anymore, but it was all sort of braided with my sense of being Italian and my sense of being Catholic, and I can't, it's just, you know, I never think about this stuff when I sit down to write fiction, and when I sit down to write characters, whether they're Italian or not, I never think about working these things into it. It's just it's as hard to separate them from my work as it is to separate the fact that I was a boy from my work. They're just inextricably connected to the things I write. And whenever I go back to write